Kia ora. Morena. Hello, beautiful world. Madeline Lee here from Ride Your Stigma. Just going to share the live, if it will let me. We're a bit lopsided on my end today. I'm not sure about yours, but that's okay. Life can be lopsided sometimes. Just going to share the live, and then we will get into a little bit of a kōrero. I wonder if I have turned my do not disturb on. Don't know, we'll find out. So we're already going now, so if you're joining me today, us today, I welcome you to say hello, kia ora, morena. Let me know where you are coming in from around the world. If you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are familiar here, welcome back. Lovely to see you. My name is Madeline Lee. If you are just coming into this beautiful space, I'm an intuitive healer, mindset mentor, herpes advocate, and expressive dance coach, intuitive fitness instructor. It's a big mouthful. So let me just check that we are shared and all ready to go. Kia ora, Marie. Lovely to see you here today. How are you? How are you? I actually am going to do some live cards after this live, but on Instagram, Marie. So if you want to jump over there, I've decided to pour a little bit more of my time and energy into my Instagram space. So it's Ride Your Stigma, at Ride Your Stigma on Instagram. So I'll be jumping on to do some live cards over there after this live stream. If you would like to join me over there for a card, I will pop my link in the comments as well. But I just kind of wanted to come and have a bit of a live stream kōrero this morning here first, about a few points that have come up in my personal life at the moment that many others have kind of been mirroring or working through as well. So what do we name our live stream today? As one part heals and dissolves, it opens space for the next layer to surface. It's a way of healing living. I wanted to, I suppose, highlight, because I was reminded about when we heal through something, we might heal one part of something, a wound, a sore space, a inner child, a hurt, a grief. We might heal through something, whatever it is, a relationship, a dying part of us, a physical death, an energetic death, a death of a version of ourselves. And when we heal, I suppose what I wanted to share about today, guys, is that often we feel like, oh, I've healed something and I've moved through it and now it's over and it's done. And I've had a reminder in myself in the last week or so that just because I heal through one part of one wound or one hurt or one experience or relationship or situation, it does not mean that all the work is complete. It means that, yes, it's a celebration of I've healed through that, I've really moved through that, I've allowed myself to feel through that, and then I've come through that part of it. And then often that means that that part is healed, if you want to say that, healed and dissolved, which means that then there's space opened so that the next layer can come to the surface. Sometimes it can be really, really frustrating as well, because we're like, well, I just did all this work to heal this thing. Hello, beautiful Phil. So lovely to have you here. Hi, beautiful soul. Layers upon layers. Yes, you know, ancient blooded healer. The reason that this is kind of surfaced for me is for example, there's two situations, but I'm just going to share one here to start. I went to a women's business networking event this last week, and I've shared about my genital herpes journey and my mental health very openly for a very long time, and it's not something I actually find difficult to share. It's something that I feel passionate and purposeful to share, to help others, to help myself heal through that, through my mental health, emotions, especially the stigma around genital herpes, STIs, mental health. It is something that I talk about deeply and openly and passionately, sometimes very fiery. So it's not hard for me to speak about those topics. And at this women's business networking event that I went to this week, it was quite interesting because it would have been maybe three years since I've been talking quite openly and publicly about this. And I suppose what dawned on me, or what dropped in for me this week, is that I don't hold shame around the diagnosis of herpes. There's not really, of course, there's snippets that come up depending on the situations and other people's upbringings and beliefs and what they kind of perceive or understand around sexually transmitted diseases, mental health, the stigma and shame that's held around that. But it's something that that doesn't stop me, that doesn't hold me back anymore. And I feel like I've healed that shame quite deeply, shall I say. And then at this women's business networking catch-up workshop this week, I sat there and we went around in a circle. There's about 20 old women there that all had different types of businesses, which was really, really cool and really, really nice to do something in person as well and connect and learn from other women, be inspired, see what else they do out there. And I kind of already put myself in a little bit of a box in my niche or in my business and what I do. And I sat there and there was, I suppose I was catching the judge within me, because we all have a natural judge within us, being human. Even if we're not judging, we are judging in a sense of our perception, our experiences, who we are, who we've been brought up to be, and it kind of automatically kind of happens and unfolds in us. Even when we visually see someone or something, we have a story behind it of how they look or how they speak or how they present themselves, how they feel energetically. And so at this networking space, we started to go around the circle and share what our business was, and they were doing like a topic of mindset at this networking event, which was really, really cool. And it was around mindset, like what's challenging you in your mindset. And we kind of went around the circle and I was listening to all these beautiful women that all to me had quite mainstream businesses or quite common businesses, real estate, marketing, these different things. And I'm already judging myself sitting in this circle automatically going, oh, and then it gets to my turn. And then I say intuitive healing, spirituality in a child, herpes support, herpes education, breaking down stigmas, judgment, shame around STIs and things like that. And I shared a little bit about realizing my uniqueness again at a new level this week as well. But anyway, so we got round the circle and these women were sharing their passion and their purpose and their business, and it was beautiful to soak that up. And then we got to my turn, and then I started to share what I do and what my passion is and what my love is and my business and my work and what I do with my clients and how I support other souls to step into their authentic self and back into their power. And I then got to the herpes bit. So there's 20 women. I've shared multiple times in front of people about my herpes diagnosis and about supporting NZH Friends, my community with about 350 different people that live with the herpes virus in New Zealand. And I've shared that many times. So for me, it's not hard to share that outwardly in a public place or space or with new people that I've only just met. Usually that's not a challenge. And it wasn't a challenge to get the words out of my mouth, but I suppose what I wanted to kind of talk about was coming back to, as one part heals and dissolves, it opens space for the next layer to surface. And I suppose what I witnessed myself when sharing about herpes support and supporting my community at that space this week, something dropped in for me that I was sharing that, and all this rush of tears came up inside my body. I was like, oh, and I do herpes support, and I could feel all the tears and like grief, like I was about to burst into tears. I definitely have in the past burst into tears in spaces like that, because that's the emotions that want to come up. That's the grief that wants to come up. That's the releasing of the energy and the emotion, the resentment, the shame, the stigma, the guilt, the blame, the anger, the embarrassment, all those emotions, whatever those emotions that are surfacing. I definitely have cried before with that in public spaces, but that day, this week, it wasn't cry from shame. It wasn't cry from embarrassment. It was almost showing me that I had healed through the aspect of shame to a point that the shame wasn't really touching me or bothering me. Like, yeah, it's there, but it wasn't the reason that the tears were coming up. The tears were coming up because there was other grief of personal things that I have been going through in my personal life, unrelated to herpes diagnosis. But it's interesting because it was like, I have in a little space, were in a capsule of healing pockets. So you had all these little, all I envision now is like these little bubbles of different healing different parts, different emotions, different processing, different stages that we go through and whatever we're healing in our life. It's like the shame part of the herpes, or the societal shame stigma part that generally most of us associate with living with an STI. That part of me is like here, and it's all good. And it was like this new level of, oh, and I went, what, where are these tears coming from? And it was interesting because the tears and that emotion, that my whole face just went flush, and I was like, oh, and just felt like crying right in that moment. And I was like, why? And then I kind of slipped into that judgment, oh, people are going to think I'm crying because I just shared that I have herpes at this table and that I support people with herpes. And really, then I had to bring myself back and go, okay, so what's coming up here for me? What's surfacing now? What's this new layer of healing that is opening, like this new wound that wants to be new level, new emotion that is arising because I have healed that bubble of shame to an extent that is satisfactory or complete for now, and then it's opened up this new space, so it's dissolved that shame aspect so that it's opened me up to a new layer, which is definitely grief. There was a grief that came up inside me straight away that I knew that was grieving for other people or different old parts of myself, old parts of my energetic soul, different parts of my life, as well as the parts that I mirror or that I see of my old self within people that at that stage or phase similar to where I used to be. Grieving for those people that feel stuck, that feel closed off, that feel encompassed by shame, that it's taking over them, or the anger and the resentment, or the isolation, the hurt, the sadness, all of those things. And then another part that I realized that came up inside me was that I felt like crying just because herpes is like that the trigger key. The trigger key to all the other parts of me, all the, you know how we have like one thing that often is the trigger key to opening. So if it's alcoholism is your thing, or suicidal ideation, what else? Parenting, or a loss of a loved one, or whatever your thing is that kind of tipped you over the edge and made everything else spill out. Herpes was my thing that allowed everything else to come out. So talking about that herpes, even though it wasn't the grief that I was exactly feeling, it was like, because I've been going through some very different, challenging shifts and movements and experiences in my personal life and some relationships in my life lately, that it surfaced those emotions that I was feeling internally from the other parts of my life, because that herpes point of that key trigger had kind of like opened, and then the other parts were coming out, that I was grieving and sensitive and fragile with these other things in my life. So what else did you say, Phil? Love your top. It's actually a dress, Phil. Thanks. See, it's a beautiful dress. I nearly put it in my op shop bag the other day. I love the color, but it's slightly too tight. When I'm having my not skinny days, it's too tight. Then when I'm in my skinny days, it fits. Phil says, keep it up, legend. You are a leader after all. Says you, Phil. Thank you so much and love having you here. I hope you are well. So coming back to our topic of korero today, as one part heals and dissolves, it opens space for the next layer to surface. It's a way of healing living. So it's a journey. It doesn't just stop when we begin a healing journey. And I even want to say it can be really frustrating. So something that kind of my mind patterns went through around this as well is when we get really frustrated, when we think, oh, but I've done so much work lately and I've healed through so much and I've improved and I've grown and I've moved through, or I've expanded from where I used to be and who I used to be, and the parts of me that wanted to grow and heal and expand and move through. And then we can often get frustrated or be like, oh, fuck, I give up. I've been working so hard. I've been healing for like 2 years, 3 years, and I've been really applying myself and really trying to come internally and really unpack it in my mind or in my emotions. I've really been applying myself to come full out into this space, to be vulnerable, to own the challenges that I have, to be honest with myself and integral, especially in your relationship with yourself. And then we can often get really, really frustrated because we're like, well, I've done all this healing and why isn't it fucking working now? Why haven't I found that destination of healing? Because it's not a destination, because it is a way of healing living as a way of life. And knowing that in moments where you get frustrated with that, just take a moment to pause. Just take a moment to pause and actually appreciate how far that you've come. And that, yes, when we heal one layer or piece or bit, so like for me, in this example, the herpes shame bubble, it's like I can just picture like all these little bubbles of little wounds or shame or emotion or more gloggy kind of shadow stuff, and I just see all these bubbles, and the shame of herpes is like, it's like here floating in like a love heart bubble. And then all of a sudden there's other parts of it that are rising, that are opening different parts of me unrelated to the herpes, to grieve, to move through, to surface, to heal, to be given attention and light to move through. So that is just an example from my personal experiences, but see where you can ask yourself, resonate with that, see the mirror in yourself. If you are listening and you are here, that means that there is something here for you today. There is some message, whether it is something I'm saying that you resonate with, or whether my words and my sharing has twisted or turned or opened something within your own intuition, within your own mind, within your own soul and thought patterns, in relation to your own experiences, in relation to your own life, in relation to your own emotions and your own healing and your own wounds and challenges and expansion. The other thing I just wanted to talk about before I jump off today, I am just about to jump off and go onto Instagram. On my Ride Your Stigma page, so it's just literally called @RideYourStigma, and I'm going to do some live intuitive messages, oracle cards over there. I always go live on Facebook, and it's about time that I start to expand, and I have been enjoying trying to learn some more of Instagram over the last little while. So I'm going to jump over there and try and do some live cards and see how it goes, because I don't go live on Instagram. So if you would like some live intuitive messages or oracle cards, jump over there after we jump off here. and come in. I will bring you my eyes just wanted to roll in. Bring you, welcome you, guide you into some intuitive messages. But the last thing before I jump off is that I finally set a drop date of the opening of the Vibe Tribe membership community. So this has been literally, I think, since last August. It might even be a year that I've been trying to launch this, and it hasn't felt right. But I really wanted a beautiful community container where people that truly want to do the work, that are fiery, keen, creative, want to find their deeper passion, step into creating their own business, their own passion from their heart, their creations, their gifts. I wanted to create a monthly membership space that you guys can dip into. There is going to be a whole lot of magic going on in there. So it is going to be $55 or $57 a month, New Zealand dollars. Minimum of 6 months sign on, and reason being is because it is time to work with people that are well and truly ready to go, and they're here for the long run. So I've made it a minimum of 6 month commitment because it's for the people that are here for the long run, and they are here to power through, they're here to commit. And I don't believe that doing it for a month or 2 months is really giving it a good shot and delving into it and everything we want to open. So it's going to be a beautiful space. It's called the Vibe Tribe monthly membership community. So we're going to have monthly resource drops. We're going to have monthly trainings. There's going to be some more intimate psychic reading stuff in there. There is going to be a support thread. I am just playing with creating an app for Ride Your Stigma. So we'll see how that goes. I am hoping that I will be able to launch it and open it so that we can have a beautiful space in there for you guys to share. It can be anything, life, so business. There's going to be some support in there around social media, websites, creating content, understanding what kind of offers, creating online courses, membership communities, consistency, as well as self-care, your emotions, intuitive, spirituality, your gifts, self-care, Mother Nature, coming back to natural ways of living. So literally anything you can think of, emotional mastery. What else? We may even do some dance stuff in there, but there's going to be lots of resources and tools, and some support calls with kind of hot seat coaching and mentoring in there. So if you are burning to get rolling into creating your own business, creating more of a life that feels free to you, creating a space of sharing your gifts and your love for the world, your healing for yourself, and helping others heal as you always heal, this beautiful space is something that you won't want to miss out on. So we will be launching that soon. I have the drop date of 9th of September to open the doors for it. So if you're interested in that as well, come into my DMs, let me know, and I can give you some more details if you have any questions. Otherwise, that is about it for Facebook Live today. But if you would like to join me for some oracle messages over on Instagram, give me 5 minutes and we will be live on Instagram on Ride Your Stigma's page for some oracle card readings shortly. Otherwise, I love yous all. I hope that you took something from these messages today. I definitely have, and come through some new learnings this week of the different layers of emotions and healing. Okay, lovely souls, I love you dearly.